Hey there Facebook, it is Vanessa here again, your motivational speaker, trainer and head coach from Live, Love, Give. And today's message is coming to you. It's one that I've kept putting off and off because I was asked by the incredible Brian probably a couple of weeks ago now to share, some books that I would recommend, some books that have kind of changed my life. And sorry, had a hair on my face. But yes, and I wanted to share those with you guys today. So I kind of narrowed it down to my top 10 books that have dramatically impacted my life. And I can't wait to share those with you. And I would absolutely love for you guys out there who are listening and following along in today's message to share your number one best, highest recommended book. I want to hear from you. Everybody here wants to hear your book recommendation as well. And I want you to share your book recommendation and tell in like just a small little, one line or a couple of sentences why that book is so awesome and why we all need to go and get it. All right. So I want to hear that from you guys. Make sure you're commenting below. Let me know. Love to hear from you. And let's get into it. So I want to share these top 10 books with you. I'm going to share their title, the author, hopefully I can remember on the fly, and also why it's an amazing book for you to go out and get, and who you are, like what you're going through. It might be really in alignment with helping support you on that part of your journey. So the first book I want to recommend, which is one that I recommend to everybody who's listening, is the book called Lovability by Robert Holden. And what I'm going to say to you guys also is after this video, I will I'll actually I didn't put it on there, but I should put a list on there for you, so don't get too worried if you miss the title or the author or anything like that. I'm going to put a list of these books on top of this video once I finish chatting with you guys today. So Lovability by Robert Holden is the number one book I recommend to all. I think that it is just such a phenomenal book in terms of building your love for yourself, having that value of oneself, that trust in yourself, how to treat yourself, and also what extraordinary relationships actually look like beyond all the BS and beyond all the, the fears and the egos and all of that stuff. When we can get out of our own way, this book really just simplifies what life is all about, what love is all about, and it makes it practical. It simplifies things, and it really makes it accessible to everybody. This book, along with a couple of the other ones that I want to recommend to you guys, is actually based off another phenomenal book called A Course in Miracles, and this one is I think it's about 700 pages long. It is literally and literally what it is there's different sections of the book, so you can read fully through the book. It's all talking into, it's pretty in-depth. It's kind of, I actually started reading it because I wanted to challenge my mindset, because it talks into a lot of Christian terms and I wasn't too familiar with them, and I really just wanted to read something completely different, and it was a really revolutionary book. At the end of this book, so it's not only a text, but it's also daily actions to take. So daily lessons they are. So it goes for 365 days. So it's a whole year. You follow along with these daily lessons whilst you're reading the text. There's a few different ways you can tackle this book, but that's the way I dove into it. And it's not that accessible for everybody. It's an amazing book that I highly recommend for everyone out there to at least have gone through this course once in your life. I know a lot of people who do go through this book, they actually go consistently through it. So they never stop being a student of the Course in Miracles, and they keep rolling on through. And I mean, you're going to keep getting insights and perspectives and all these kind of shifts and transformations if you do that. But because this book isn't all that accessible to everybody, and I mean, I found it in a secondhand bookstore, like this beat up, like old edition of the book. And it just kind of looked really interesting. So I definitely jumped onto it. And because it's not that accessible, a number of books have been written which really simplify the lessons in that book and make it much more accessible. Lovability by Robert Holden, the first book I mentioned to you, is one of those. Another book that is based on A Course in Miracles is from Gabrielle Bernstein, another book that I am consistently recommending. This one is called May Cause Miracles, and it is a 42-day program where she guides you through, for me, it was a process of surrender to something larger at play, getting out of the ego. And when I went through that book at that time in my life, I was having a break from a relationship where I just wasn't sure, like, what wasn't adding up. And I went through this book a couple of years back, and it was revolutionary in my own personal growth and development, and tapping into the power of surrender, which is so scary to so many of us. And I'm speaking to so many of you guys out there who struggle with surrender. And so I really recommend Gabrielle Bernstein, May Cause Miracles, brilliant book. And I really gravitate towards books that are kind of actionable. So that's one of them. 42 days straight, you're checking in, you've got guided meditations, you're doing journaling, you are surrendering to something larger at play, you're tapping into intuition. Phenomenal book, highly recommend it. Another one that I wanted to recommend, I'm going to go into a couple of relationship books. So the very first relationship book I ever picked up was actually John Gray's book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. And I have to admit, I actually don't agree with every single thing in that book. And there were a lot of things in that book that, I really didn't agree with. But there also, at the same time, there was so much insight in that book. And I think it's really powerful. It's a generalized book. It makes big, massive generalizations, but I think it's really, really powerful in terms of teaching us as women that men aren't, the same as us, and as men, women aren't we don't think the same. Our brains are different. We think completely differently. We value different things, and instead of projecting our own experience on the opposite sex, it's really important to at least get the general aspects. Like, it's not all true, but in general, as a whole, there are some real truths that make such a difference in our relationships when we stop expecting another to be like us, and we see and appreciate and learn to adore the differences, because that's what the attraction comes from. It comes from the differences, and we get into this weird mindset of trying to make somebody just like us, but at the end of the day, when there's two of you, one isn't necessary, and so we end up not really respecting each other in our relationships. And this book is just one of the ones that has really helped me in terms of just understanding men better, understanding myself better. And the reason why I picked up that book was because I learned a lot about relationship through the work of Tony Robbins, and he learned a lot of what he knew from John Gray. So I dove into his work, and on that, also I learned about masculine and feminine energies. I was first introduced to masculine and feminine energies, such a powerful, way of thinking, framework to know. And I picked that up from Tony Robbins in his event, Date with Destiny, and it took me on this journey of really diving deep into learning more about those dynamics. And he learnt what he knows from what's his name? David Data. And the book that I read is The Way of the Superior Man. And yes, this book is geared towards men and their evolution and their spiritual evolution. But ultimately, I really recommend it to women to read as well. Again, we need to understand our differences. We need to know and appreciate how different we are, so that we don't try and force each other to be just like us and then cancel one of us out and create lack of attraction. We kill the attraction, kill that dynamic at play. We need to understand it and appreciate it. and The Way of the Superior Man. Wow, like please, all you men out there, like please go and get that book. And yeah, for all you women who want to grow and you want to get outside of yourself and understand the men in your life a lot better, please go and get that book as well. It is just so phenomenal. Really, really amazing book. Quite spiritual and a very different way of thinking, but it makes so much sense. And for men, it gives them permission to be men. And for women, it allows us to relax, knowing that, you know, we're different to men, and it makes sense as to why they do what they do and feel the way that they feel and think the way that they think. So if you're confused about our differences, please go and get that book. And if you want to grow as a man, like please go and get that book. And if you want an extraordinary quality of relationship, please go and get that book, whether you are a man or a woman. Demartini, oh my gosh, you guys know, I hope if you guys have been following along with me, you know that I absolutely adore Dr. John Demartini. I feel grateful that I had the pleasure of getting to interview him back in March this year. Phenomenal human being doing extraordinary work. And I got to go to one of his talks, and wow, they call him the human fire hydrant. Like, he just like loads it all out there. I think I wrote about 10 pages of notes in 2 hours. He's just a wealth of knowledge and wisdom. And his book, The Breakthrough Experience, was the very first book of his that I read, and it is amazing. I really highly recommend that book in terms of really just breaking through our limitations, because any person who's trapped in negativity or some sort of emotional state that has a real hold and impact on them, this book allows you to break through. It allows you to balance out your lopsided perceptions on life that keep you limited and small, and finally break through all of those those negative relationships that we have, those all sorts of things that we hold on within ourselves, with others, all that stuff. Amazing book, highly recommended. Expectation Hangovers by Christine Hassler, another beautiful human being that I feel so grateful that I got to interview. She is so beautiful, and yeah, that book, Expectation Hangovers, if you're ready to do the work, you know, if you've had some sort of disappointment occur in your life, this is the book for you. It is structured, you really dive in deep, you do the work, you work through everything that you're currently going through. Wherever you've had an expectation that hasn't been met, you end up with what she would term an expectation hangover, and we need to be able to work through that process to get to a healthy, back into a healthy state of mind. And that is a phenomenal book to do so, whether you've a relationship breakdown that you didn't expect and you really didn't want that to happen, or maybe a career, a job loss, or whatever, somebody died in your life, passed away, and you're struggling with that, whatever it is, you know, maybe you're not in a position where you thought you could be, and so you're feeling that expectation hangover within yourself. Whatever it is, I really recommend that book as well. What else have I got? And then two of my latest books that I have been diving into recently. You guys know I love Byron Katie, and I really recommend her books. The latest one of hers that I've been diving into is A Mind at Home with Itself. Now this one, again, is not accessible for everybody. It is... It's something that I think we can all strive to get to. It is amazing. I am somebody who loves nothing more than challenging my current set of beliefs and my belief system that I'm operating in. I want to be woken up. I want to be shaken up. And this book is really, really brilliant at kind of like simplifying and, you know, waking us up to how we create our own suffering. And when we can get access to this book and understand that all suffering is born in mind, in our own mind, then we can wake up to freedom. So that is a phenomenal book for anybody wanting to take their spiritual journey to the next level and wake up in life. You got to get your hands on Byron Katie's A Mind at Home with Itself. And the very last book that I want to share with you guys is the book that I am currently... I'm only about 200 pages in. It's a big, big book. I've recommended it a couple of times to you guys over the last couple of weeks. It is a book by Caroline Myss, Sacred Contracts. And wow, is it mind-blowing. it's all about putting sort of a symbolic way of reading the experiences and the relationships in our lives to create meaning, so that we can, the thesis of the book is that we have these kind of sacred contracts that we had prior to birth. And whether you believe it or not, like, I just like to challenge my belief systems and dive into new ways of thinking and make my mind up along the way. But I don't hold judgment or prejudice against it until I've gone into it and experienced some of it, and then I can make up my mind. But yeah, that's kind of the thesis of the book, that we have these kind of spiritual contracts, and the way that she helps you understand your purpose in life is by identifying the different archetypes that we have within us. You guys have heard me talk into a little bit of that in terms of the 4 survival archetypes a few videos back, in terms of the prostitute, the victim, the child, and the saboteur. And we all have those 4 archetypes, but there's these different archetypes that they're kind of just behavioral patterns that we show up and identify in our lives. And when we can understand what our patterns are, and we can put these symbolic meanings to them, we have a way of seeing the positive aspects of those archetypes and the shadow aspects. And there's such a good framework of understanding the self. She also dives into the chakras, which I haven't learned too much about, but that's the part of the book that I'm really learning into at the moment, and it's fascinating. It's making so much sense. I'm somebody who loves the frameworks, different frameworks and modalities of understanding human behavior and human potential, and being able to layer that sort of stuff over the top of one another to gain higher levels of self-awareness and growth and direction and clarity and all of the brilliant stuff that we all really want. So highly recommend that book, but it's really intense, really intense, and it takes time to get through. It's not something that you can just like whip out really quickly, but I highly recommend it. Like I said, I'm only 200 pages into the book at the moment, but I'm really excited about like how much growth I've already had in awareness and how much is yet to come. So really recommend that book to you guys as well. So that is my top 10 books that have dramatically impacted my life. I had to narrow it down for you guys, but I want to make sure that, like I said, before I go into checking in with you guys, like I said, I'm going to put a list of these books with the authors above this video as soon as I sign off, in case you didn't catch any of the names that I spoke into. But I'm going to check in with you guys now, and I can't wait to hear what your suggestions of the amazing books that have impacted you, and I want to hear from you why those books have been so impactful. So why we're going to like jump on Amazon right now and go and order all of these books that you guys are recommending. Definitely want to hear from you, and let me check in with you guys. So I have got Kaden, awesome to see you, and Brittany's here, awesome, and Kenny and Greg and Aaron and Judy, and thanks so much for your kind words there, Kaden, and I'm loving that you're taking notes. And Andrew's here, and Linda, and Jeremy, and Radu, and Anne, and Brittany. I hope I screw this up. New book, talking about the past is just a story and how society has conditioned us. Awesome. Who's the author, Brittany? I'd love to hear that from you. Sounds awesome. I love books that kind of just mix it up a bit and challenge us. So I love that. Sounds like one of those books. And Ali's here, and Davey, and Greg. Thank you so much for your kind compliment. And Moises is here, and Alexandria, Power of Now. Taking action. Yes, that's one of the books that I completely slipped my mind, but I definitely recommend that as well. Eckhart Tolle, from Andrew there, Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle. Amazing book. I think I've mentioned it to you guys a couple of times, but really gets you thinking about what really matters and how we're operating in the ego. Really great book for that. And thanks, Andrew, for your recommendation. And Corey's here, and Fazia, and Ricardo, and Diallo, and Andrew. Top work. Thank you so much. And Gary, Conversations with God, very freeing and spiritually healing. Love it, Gary. You guys, let me know who the author of these books is as well. I mean, I'm sure if we Google them, we'll find that out anyway, so probably not a problem. But so appreciate that, Gary. Thank you. And Angel's here, and Cadence starts with why. Oh yeah, Simon Sinek, great book, awesome recommendation. It's about what's at the core of every successful endeavor. I highly recommend it to anyone who wants to accomplish anything. That's such a great recommendation, Cadence. Thank you so much for being here. And Mark and Ram and Leo and Radu. I truly recommend Risky is the New Safe, written by Randy Gage. It is a phenomenal book because you makes you think forward. Reading this can make you the new Elon Musk, meaning that you can become pioneer in a certain domain. Awesome, Radu. I can't wait to check that out. Risky is the New Safe. I like it. That sounds like my kind of book. Martin's here and Ashley. Awesome to see you. And Alona and Andrew and Glenn and Gana and David and Jolene and Ashok and Cheryl and Ray and Ali and Tanya and James and Susan. Awesome of you guys to join. And Ram, the best actionable books. Thanks so very much for sharing. Means a lot. Oh, you're so welcome, Ram. I appreciate you being here as always. And Jared's here. Awesome. And Ricardo. Hi, Vanessa. Thanks a million for taking the time to make this recording and list of books. Really appreciate it. You're so welcome, Ricardo. I'm grateful that it is of value to you. That's awesome. And I so appreciate you being here. And Jeannie's here, and Michael, and Brandon, and Chris, awesome, and Jacob. I like right now to read Lisa Rankin. Oh, I love Lisa Rankin. I need to dive more into her stuff. Book, it is about understanding the fear and how to work with it. Awesome, Jacob. Let us know in the Limitless Potential Inner Circle Facebook community how you go with that book. It'll be awesome to hear. And Mandy and Tony and Jose or Jose, I never know what your name is, but I so appreciate you. And Ozra and Julie and Mateus and Aaron, As a Man Thinketh. Yes, absolutely. Great classic book. Simple but so good. Awesome. Thanks, Aaron and Filippo and Tammy. Hey, Vanessa, love learning about our body's energies. Recommend the Reiki session if you have not experienced it. It is amazing. I haven't had a Reiki session. I'd love to test it out. So thank you so much for the heads up there, Tammy. You're inspiring me. So thank you. And yeah, I'm definitely loving learning about the body's chakras and the energy, and makes so much sense. I love it. And Ram, all of Tony Robbins' books, awesome. And Relentless Aaron, hello to you. And Neymar and Jose, Jose, Autobiography of a Yogi. I think I've heard of that from Paramahansa, is one of my recurrent books, Steve Jobs' favorite. Awesome. Yeah, I have heard of that book. So thanks for the recommendation there. And Gana, the book is getting great reviews. This book is an excellent start to understand the Icelandic national psyche. Wow. Okay, awesome. I love you sharing that. We'll definitely check that out. Thanks you so much, Gana. And Joe's here from Maryland, I love it. And Nathan and Gabrielle and Kaden, this video and the comments are full of value. Look what you started, Vanessa. I'm so grateful. Grateful for all of you guys. You guys rock. I absolutely love when you guys engage, not only with me, but with each other and add value to everybody. So thanks so much. And thank you to Kaden and Gabrielle. Love having you here. And okay, Changed Your Life Forever, free book, Relentless Aaron. Okay, and Joe, Getting to Yes, by Ray and Fisher, and Think and Grow Rich. Yeah, Joe, awesome. I haven't seen the Getting to Yes, but I'll be sure to check that out. And yeah, Think and Grow Rich, what a classic. Definitely a phenomenal book. It's why I'm always talking into positive expectancy, that book. It's just, yeah, that's the number one thing I think I took from that, having positive expectancy and the power of that. So love that, Joe. Thanks for sharing. And Mercedes is here. Awesome. So guys, that was my message. I really just wanted to make sure that I delivered that to you, because the amazing Brian asked me so long ago, and he kept reminding me, and I kept putting it off, so I had to get it out to you guys and list those top 10 books of mine. And we've had some amazing ones. All of you guys have definitely shared some awesome books. I've got yarn. Oh my God, my library is full, and I study so many books. Dr. John Maxwell, yes. Darren Hardy, Tony Robbins, Who Moved My Cheese? Yeah, that's a good one too. Just a little, really quick book, but yeah, I really enjoyed that one as well. Who Moved My Cheese? Funny little book. And Emma is here. Awesome, guys. Everybody who's just joined me, I hope you guys catch the recording, get a ton of value from today's message. Bit of a different one, talking into my top 10 books that have impacted me dramatically. And I would absolutely love for you guys to continue dropping your comments in terms of what books have really changed your life and you've really got a ton of value from, and yeah, what the book is, who the author is, and why we need to go and get it. And that's it from me today, guys. So I'm sending you all of my love, light, blessings, gratitude, energy, enthusiasm, everything extraordinary coming to you to wherever you are in the world today, day or night. I hope it's extraordinary, and I can't wait to see you guys tomorrow. Thanks so much for everybody who has interacted, who's shared their favorite books. You guys are phenomenal. You light up my day. I appreciate you all so much. And I am sending you all of my love, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Have an amazing day or night.